welcome to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about all of the series that I'm in the middle of, and then I'm going to sort of use the idea from the Fantasy Nutworks video about choosing which series are like priorities for me and which ones aren't. I'm probably not going to be quitting any of these series just because if I really don't enjoy a book, I just get rid of it, so I'm not really in the middle of too many series that I don't care about at all. There may be one or two, but yeah, enjoy. So the first series that I'd really like to finish this year would be the Glass Alliance trilogy by Joanna Hathaway. I have read the first two books. There's only one more, and then I can check it off my list, and I really liked them. I just haven't really thought about the series a lot since I read it, so I just haven't really picked up the third book, which I think is called Southern Sun, Northern Star. So yeah, I just need to buy it, pick it up, read it, check it off. So yeah, that one's going to be pretty high priority. I'd really like to do it in 2023. The next series would be the Greenbone Saga by Fonda Lee. I have read Jade City, but I have not read Jade War or Jade Legacy, and I don't own either of them either. I haven't found them in half-price books or anything like that, so I just need to probably order them on eBay or something like that. But Storytime with Sid had mentioned wanting to maybe do a buddy read with me for that, so if you're still down, I'm definitely in, because maybe then I'll actually pick up Jade War. Another series that I'm in the middle of would be the Hidden Legacy series by Ilona Andrews. I have read the first trilogy, the Nevada trilogy, and I really enjoyed it. It's a series that's sort of an urban fantasy where people inherit magic powers that are a little bit like superpowers, and that they're very hard magic, and each person has a different ability, but there's also sort of an arcane magical overtone where there's drawing circles on the floor and that sort of thing. There's also a romance, of course, which is what that author duo is kind of well known for. But anyways, there is a second series and some other ones in the middle that follow the other sisters, and I just haven't been too motivated to pick them up because I always get really attached to a main character if I like a series, and I don't usually like it when the perspective changes if it's been primarily from one person's point of view. But I want to pick them up eventually. That's not going to be a priority for me, though, this year. Maybe if I'm feeling like it or I see them at a half-price books, I'll pick it up, but otherwise, no guarantees for that one. The next series that I'm working on finishing would be the Encrypted series by Shauna McGuire. I've read the first two, Discount Armageddon and Midnight Blue Light Special. I really loved those books. I thought they were super fun, but I really loved the main character, Verity. And the third book follows her brother. We don't follow Verity again until, I think, the sixth book, and so I just haven't been particularly motivated to pick it up. Again, maybe I will if I see it in a half-price books. Maybe I'll pick it up. But that's not going to be a priority for me this year either. I would like to finish the series at some point because I think that I've missed it a little bit and I'm willing to pick it up and try out another character, but I don't know when exactly I'll be finishing that one. It's not high up on my priority list. Another series that I'm in the middle of would be the Kate Daniel series by Ilona Andrews. I've read the first two books. I didn't really like the first one, but I had heard that the first one's not a great indicator for if you'll like the rest of the series, so I went ahead and picked up the second one, which I did enjoy. So I have not found the third book yet, so I don't own it. This is going to be sort of in the same category as the other two urban fantasy series, just because I can really only work on so many at a time, and right now I'm working on the Dresden Files and the World of the Lupi, which we'll talk about in a minute. But yeah, this series I would like to finish, and again, if I find the next book at half-price books when I'm there, I'll probably pick it up, but other than that, I don't know when exactly I'll get to this series, and it's not going to be high priority for me. Another series that I'd like to finish, and I would like to finish it this year, would be the Mistborn series. I have read the first trilogy, and as we saw in my recent book haul, I did buy Secret History, and I would like to read that either this month or next month, and then I do want to buy the second trilogy as well, and go ahead and read that, because I really want to finish as many Cosmere books as I possibly can before the fourth Secret Project comes out, so that I'm as up to date on Cosmere lore as possible. So I'd really, really like to finish Mistborn this year. Another series that I'm in the middle of would be the Poison Study series by Maria Snyder. I read the first book, and then I kind of mutilated it when I was trying to learn how to recover books. I actually haven't really thought about the series much at all since finishing it, other than about the cover, and I don't know how I'm feeling about it. I'm not sure that I care enough to continue, even though it was really good and I liked it at the time. I just haven't really thought about it at all, and I felt like the first book kind of answered all the questions that I had, and so I don't know. Maybe I'll pick it up, maybe I won't. That one I'm going to have to think about, because I may just DNF that series, so it's kind of like a soft DNF, where I'm not DNFing it because I hated it. I'm DNFing it because I just haven't been too motivated to pick up the next one, and I might not ever feel that way. Another series that I'd like to finish would be the Temeraire series by Naomi Novik. I also actually don't know how I feel about this one. So I own the third book, and I've read the first two. I'd like to read the third book this year, I think, and see how I feel, but after the second book, I wasn't really feeling the series anymore because it didn't feel like there was that same sort of whimsical dragon companion series vibe like there was in the first book. And so I want to give the third book a chance and see if it sort of recovers its momentum. But if it doesn't, I'm probably going to call it quits from there. Another series that I'd really like to finish this year would be the Aurelian Cycle by Rosaria Munda. I gave Fireborn 5 stars, and it was on my top reads for 2022. But for some reason, I haven't picked up the rest of the series. I think it's just because it's expensive a lot of the times where I found it, and I haven't been able to find it at like half-price books. So I'm going to have to just bite the bullet on that one and buy it at whatever price I can find it, because I really, really want to finish it. So the next series that I'd like to finish this year would be the Dresden Files. Right now, I'm actually reading Turncoat, and I own all the way up to Ghost Story, including the short story book that goes kind of between Ghost Story and Changes. And I'd really like to get through those, and then really the rest of the series by the end of the year. I think if I keep kind of alternating it with other bigger books, then I will hopefully be able to get through everything. But yeah, I've really been loving the series, having a great time, but I'd really like to try to get it done this year. Another series that I'd like to finish would be the Kingkiller Chronicles. I have read the first book, and I really liked it, but then I haven't thought about it too much because the third book isn't out, so I haven't been like too crazy about reading the second book just because I've heard it's not as good, and also there's not going to be a third one for me to pick up right afterwards if I do really want to know what happens next. So, and then there's also a little short story that I might pick up at some point. But I'd like to read it this year because it would be a series I could check off my list as being caught up, and it wouldn't be hard. It's one book and one little tiny baby book. So hopefully I'll pick that up this year just because it would be really great to be able to read one book and check it off the list. The next series that I'm in the middle of would be the Legends of the First Empire series by Michael J. Sullivan. I've read the first book, Age of Myth, and I do not own any of the rest of the series. I do want to read the rest of it, but I also want to read The Crown Tower and The Rose and the Thorn, also by Michael J. Sullivan, the sort of prequel series to the Rhyria Chronicles. And so kind of whatever I find first, I'm probably going to go ahead and pick up for those, but I'd really like to work through at least most of those this year. So we'll see. I'd like to be caught up with his stuff this year, but I don't know if it's going to happen. Another series that I'd like to finish this year would be the Murderbot Diaries. So, as I've mentioned before, I read the first 4 and kind of thought that that was all of them, but then I realized that there were 2 more, which I don't own. They're a little expensive for being, like, that big, so I've been kind of hesitant to buy them because I got a really good deal on the first 4 when I found them at half-price books. So we'll see. I'd really, really like to know what happens, and I really love the series, so I'm probably just going to have to pay full price for them, pick them up at Barnes & Noble, and it'll be fine. But yeah, I'd like to read those this year because I really love the series. Another series that I'd like to finish this year would be the Stormlight Archive. I actually read Dawn Shard this month, which we'll talk about when I do my reading wrap-up, but that means I only have to read Rhythm of War to finish out the Stormlight Archive for now. That's one book, and I also really, really enjoyed that series, so that's a no-brainer for me. I'd love to pick that up. I want to pick it up early this year as long as I can find it in mass market paperback because I really don't want to mess up my collection up there, even though the 5th book is probably going to come out in hardback, but it's fine. It's fine. I'm going to try to find mass market for this one. But yeah, I think that's pretty achievable. Like to finish that one this year. Another series that I'm in the middle of would be the Witcher series. I read the first book, The Last Wish, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great. I would like to pick up the other short story collection, The Sword of Destiny, I think. The Sword of Destiny. This year, at least. That's kind of my goal, just to read that one this year. I've heard a lot of people who like the short stories don't like the rest of the series as much, so we'll see. With all of the other series that I want to finish, I think adding The Witcher, all of it, to that list for 2023 would be a little overwhelming, so I think my goal is just to pick up the other short story collection and then see how I feel. The last series that I'm working on would be the World of the Lupi series by Eileen Wilkes. I've read the first 4 and I own the 5th one. I'd like to pick up the 5th one soon, the next couple of months, and maybe read a few more of them. I'd really like to work my way through that series. I'm not sure if I'll finish it in 2023, just because there are a ton of them, just so many of them. but I like to be working on a couple of urban fantasy series while I kind of to break up some of the bigger books and the other fantasy series that I read. So that's just kind of one of my ongoing urban fantasy series. The end is not as clearly in sight as the Dresden Files, though, so it's kind of on the back burner for right now, but hopefully I'll kind of move it up on the priority list once I finish the Dresden Files. Another series that I actually don't have on my spreadsheet, but I probably should, is the Cradle series by Will White. I have read the first 3 books because I got them in a free bundle on Kindle. I enjoyed them. I haven't really thought about them a ton since then, though. So I also don't own them in physical copies, and for me, I really like to have books in physical copies. So I would like to continue with the series. I don't know if I will in 2023. Maybe I'll keep an eye out and see if like a bundle for 4 through 6 comes out that's relatively cheap on Kindle, and I'll get it, but I'm not sure. I want to continue with the series, but I really prefer to spend my money on physical books that I can have and hold and have on my shelf and have them look pretty. So it's always kind of hard for me to spend money on Kindle books. And it's also really, really hard to find that series, at least from what I can tell, in physical copies, particularly that aren't like somehow more expensive than the physical copies on Amazon. Either way, I would like to work on it, but maybe it's not a huge priority for me. But yeah, everybody, that's all the series that I'm in the middle of and sort of their ranking and how soon I want to finish them and how much I really, really care about it. So yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. Bye!